Matthew Kroenig is a professor in the Department of Government and the Edmund A. Walsh School of Foreign Service at Georgetown University. He joins me now from Washington, D.C. Matthew, this move elevates Xi to the same status as Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping. How significant is this?
Well, it is significant. As you point out, he's one of the three most powerful Chinese Communist Party leaders in history. And I think what this means is that the only way he leaves power is when he passes away. I think he's really laying the groundwork for him to be a leader for life. And while I think that's good for him, I don't know that it's good for China. You know, Deng Xiaoping's reforms that were put in place in the 1980s, I think, are responsible for a lot of China's growth over the past several decades. And now, by centralizing control, I fear that Xi is going to introduce some of the problems into China and Chinese foreign policy that we saw under the last real uncontested dictator, Mao Zedong.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that because under Xi Jinping, he's been president for nearly 10 years now. We've seen this return to more nationalism, a focus on Chinese characteristics. Even Xi Jinping thought is being taught in schools. What direction is he sending China in now that he seemingly has the status and the time to do it?
Yes, well, as I mentioned, Deng Xiaoping put in place these reforms in the 1980s that I think were quite good for China. It was about liberalizing markets. It was about having a more consensual decision-making process in China, some local democracy. He said China should hide its capabilities and bide its time internationally, basically keep a low profile. And I think Xi's throwing all of that out of the window. He's setting himself up to be the most powerful dictator, eliminating any rivals, cracking down on democracy at home with the genocide in Xinjiang, cracking down in Hong Kong, and then internationally being much more aggressive, including threats against Taiwan, taking territory in the South China Sea. So I think this is part of this more confrontational approach we've seen from Chairman Xi.
Yeah, and that moves into my next question from a global perspective. What does this all mean? We saw China become a global superpower just in a few short decades, but its economy has been slowing for several years now. Do you think China has peaked, and what might we see from the country as it struggles with the troubles that it's facing now?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that for many years we assumed that China was going to continue to grow at 10% every year, and so we see that's clearly not the case. The growth has really slowed. I think some of that is due to just natural causes of a growing, developing economy. But I think part of it is President Xi has backtracked on many of the economic reforms that were working, re-centralizing party control. And so I think that we're going to see China's power and economic growth level off. But I still think that it can be dangerous in various ways. We've seen its threats, including hundreds of aircraft flying across Taiwan's air defense identification zone last month. So I do worry that there is potential for a conflict, even or maybe even because China's growth may be slowing.
All right, we'll leave it there. Matthew Kroenig joining us from Washington. Thank you.
Thank you.